catch 'em all.
Ladies and gents, welcome back to another drawing in perspective video. For this assignment, we are calling this the RECUBE project. This is a project for my students where basically they have to take that 6x6x6 cube that we did in the last video. They have to completely break it apart and recube it to be a different shape. Okay, so now there would be 216 boxes total if it was 6x6x6, but they're not going to do 216. They're going to do 100. Okay. So what I see in front of me here, or what I have in front of me, is 85 different boxes, and they have to be visible boxes, which means like this would be, forget this horizon line here, forget that, but this would be 1, 2, 3, and there'd be a fourth one back there. We don't assume that it continues back there. It's got to be ones that we actually see, okay? Like we see this one, but we don't assume that there's other ones off page here that we can't see, okay? So what they're going to do is they're going to choose 1-point perspective, 2-point perspective, or 3-point perspective in order to do this project. I'm going to use 2-point perspective, okay? So if they set up their paper, I'm actually going to probably draw the same one that I just drew again. And I'm going to use a pen. That way you guys can see it a little bit better. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your straight edge. You're going to set up your horizon line about 2 inches from the top of the paper. Set up your 2 vanishing points on the sides. And you're going to basically just either draw one cube at a time, which is going to be 1 by 1 by 1, or you're going to draw different shapes and fill them in with different boxes. So one of the first things I did when I started was I started with an edge that was something like this. I drew that edge going back to the left side. Now again, this is totally subjective, which means that you're not drawing what I'm drawing, you're drawing what you want to draw, okay? But I'm just showing you how I did mine. So really, if you know how to do this already, then you don't even have to watch this video. Alright, so I started with something like that. I decided that I wanted to go about a box in, and I wanted to take that edge and draw that towards the vanishing points, or I should say point. It's only going to go to the left since we're drawing on the left face, or the front face. And then we get something like this back here, and that would be extra. Actually, it would not be extra. That would continue towards the vanishing point. This one's going to go away from the vanishing point. So now we're going to just fill in those different boxes. Make sure that every vertical line that you draw is parallel to each other. Make sure that every horizontal line that you draw, if on the front face here, goes to the left vanishing point. If on the right face, goes to the right vanishing point. Okay? So now I'm going to continue this one straight up and down until it hits the top and bottom. I'm going to make some marks here. I think it's going to be a lot easier if we have some marks.
Please contact the main office.
Alright, so that would be the front face of whatever I'm trying to draw here. And then I think I went too deep. Okay, so I made them 2 blocks deep. So I drew back. And this is, it's kind of a guess, like how far back you go. These boxes should get smaller as they get further back. But it doesn't have to be perfect. However far I went this way, I should really go this way. Alright, and now I'm going to do my crisscross. I'm going to do my crisscross across the top here. my crisscross coming from the other edge over here. Now, the important part here is that whatever these lines are doing, where they touch the top is where it crosses to the other vanishing point. Okay? So that's going to give us something like this. It's almost like drawing a big letter with a bunch of boxes inside. Alright, so let's do the side here. Where this touches, this goes to the right vanishing point. Now this point right here, I should say this point right here is important, okay? Because that is the top of the first row and it's the back of the second row, which means that if I take this and I draw this back, so I actually will not draw that back because you can see how it would be in the other blocks, so we wouldn't see that, which means that in here these can actually go until they hit, and I'll explain that a little bit further in a second. So you can see that we can see the inside. Now the back of two rows wouldn't fall in here, and that's why I don't have a line here. It would be back behind this. That's where this point was coming from. This one is also important because that's going to be the deciding factor of where one ends and one begins. So I'm going to take this towards the left vanishing point. And you get something something like that. And then I think what I started doing was I started just drawing back. So let's say I wanted to add going back this way, I would just continue these lines however far back I want it to go. I'm just going to start drawing a little faster and a little sloppier here just so it goes by a little faster. Now let's say that I did skip this whole area here. I still have to follow these lines across to that vanishing point. I think I messed that one up though. You know what? I drew it down as far as I wanted. So anyways, this would go towards that vanishing point. We would then start drawing up. We would draw this towards that vanishing point, this one towards that vanishing point. You would draw this towards that vanishing point. You would do a crisscross here towards the other vanishing point. This point is going to start coming towards this vanishing point. That goes towards the other, that continues, and so on. So I added something like that. And then I just kept drawing. So I went further back, and as you can see, these boxes get smaller and smaller as they get further back. So when you start spacing for each box, you gotta do a little bit less space as you're getting further and further back. There's no exact right way to do that, unless you were probably measuring and doing some math. But you do the best you can. All right. So like I said, I have 85 here. You guys have to have 100 total, and you can draw them any way you want. You're not gonna follow my directions and do it the way I did it. You're gonna just draw these the best way possible in whatever shape you want to do it. All right. So use 1 point, 2 point, or 3 point perspective. Have 100 boxes. This will take you at least 3 class periods. I appreciate you guys watching. That is the end of this drawing in perspective RECUBE project, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.